Welcome back to the Sports Lounge. I'm Nathan Stack, and Travis and Drew are ready to talk about SDSU basketball from over the last week. But first, here are some comments made by Jackrabbits men's head basketball coach Scott Nagy after the team's 63-58 loss against UMKC Thursday night.
Well, I mean, just for the most part, it's a bad night shooting the ball. I don't know what else to say. Defensively, we were okay, but you got to be great. You got to be great when you shoot the ball as poorly as we shot it. And you know, not only did we shoot it poorly from three, we had I don't know how many looks right at the basket and couldn't finish them. And you have nights like that, and you better be great defensively. And we weren't great. We were better, but not good enough defensively.
Questions for Coach? When the shots weren't going deep, did you guys think, you know, was the plan then, hey, let's go inside, let's post up some of our bigger guys against their guards or whatever?
Well, we did. You know, we went inside to Nate. We got it inside to Chad. You know, they just missed easy shots. And, you know, only getting the free throw line 12 times is just not enough. You know, we've got to be more aggressive on the drive. You know, probably at that point have to be less threes. But you know, I mean, with Clint, I mean, we've let him go all year, and he's been pretty good for us. And you know, if he has a night like this, you know, we need some of our younger kids to play better. And you know, it's some of the inconsistency of our youth. You know, I just felt like we had some younger kids not play real well tonight. You know, and when Clint doesn't, we need those guys too to do that.
I should talk about being 2-4 at home now with this loss.
Well, I mean, you certainly don't like it, and it's, you know, it makes it very difficult to be one of the top conference teams when you've lost 4 at home. And you know, it's hard to understand why we haven't been we've really been a better road team. We played better consistently on the road than we have at home. We've been up and down at home, and you know, just there's no control over that. I mean, number one, it's a good league. It's a very balanced league. We go on the road, beat them. They go on the road, beat us. You know, there's just a lot of that going on, and so. You know, we're going to have to go on the road and play well, which I'm confident we'll do.
Do you feel like these losses, a loss like this on a night where, you know, teams ahead of you lose, you got a chance, you're playing a team you're tied with, at some point do you think this is going to cost you at least a seed?
I don't know. I mean, you can look at that stuff, you know, and at the end you can say, well, this did or that did, but every single one of those losses somewhere along the line is probably going to cost you a seed. You know, when it's all over, I don't think you're just going to be able to point to one and go, that was it. But you know, it feels needless. But I don't know what else to say. It's not like our kids weren't trying to put the ball in the basket. The ball just didn't go in, and that's the way it was tonight.
Coming off a 35-point win over a second-place team, and it's a Thursday night, were the guys not as up as you would have hoped?
Well, probably. You know, I felt it even early that there just wasn't the energy, and I felt even more offensively. I mean, we just didn't seem in sync. But, you know, I know I can go back and watch that film. We got plenty of great shots that normally we make, and they just didn't go on. I felt like with about 14 minutes to go to timeout, we were up 10, and I just, you know, it felt like we were on the verge of blowing it open, and we just couldn't make shots. And there just isn't anything to add to it. It is, you know, and I don't use it as an excuse, but that, I tell you, there's not many more in this league veteran ball clubs than UMKC. I mean, the number of kids they have, when you look at Chamberlain, who's a junior, but he's a fourth-year junior. You know, they got fifth-year seniors. They're starting a very experienced group, and they're a good. I mean, they've shown it. They're a good ball club, and they are. And Matt's doing a good job with them.
Nate, your thoughts on a game that I'm sure you guys feel like you just can't lose?
Yeah, it's definitely a game we need to win if we want to finish second in the league, obviously. And yeah, we just didn't play well offensively at all, and we play that bad. It's tough to. You got to play nearly perfect on defense, and just bounce back Saturday, I guess.
Dale, you had a 10-point lead in the second half. Just your thoughts on how this one kind of slipped away from you guys.
It was, mainly just when we needed stops, we didn't get them. We went just isolating some more players. Hitting tough shots. They came in prepared. They were playing well, And, we had chances in the second half to really blow it open, and we didn't do it, it's whatever, like cold shooting and whatnot. But when we needed stops, we didn't get stops, and we didn't get the rebounds that we needed that we were getting in the first half.
Anything else?
Dale, your thoughts on it? It's a tight conference race at the start of the second half. This essentially costs you 2 places, and you guys are 2-4 at home in league play. Is it driving you nuts?
Honestly, I can't figure it out. Because our team is really, we're so gifted in so many areas. But the one thing we're lacking, it's straight up toughness, and if 1 or 2 guys aren't bringing something energy or something, then we're flat. And I don't know. It is frustrating because now we're begging for teams to lose in order for us to get in the position where we want to be in conference. And we're not going to pack it in, obviously. But even when we were bad early on in our Division I years, we weren't 2-4 in conference at this level. And our team is so gifted, but we just got to buy in and just stay locked in. It's frustrating and doesn't even begin to, it's frustrating. I don't know beyond that, but it's tough, definitely.
And as Drue Aman, the sports editor of the Collegian, joins me now, and as you heard from Scott Nagy there and the players, a very poor shooting night. The defense was pretty good on most nights to get a win, but overall you had Sargent and Walters really struggle with shooting the ball.
I think there's an old adage out there that...
What the hell is an adage anyway? A saying?
I was not expected to hear that. Wow,
Boom.
Here we go.
Boom.
There's an old adage out there that if you live by the 3, you might occasionally die by the 3. And I think that's what happened Thursday. Sargent was off his game. And pretty much everyone in particular. I think Sargent and Walters combined for, over half of their overall shots, and neither of them really shot the ball particularly well. So that's, that a couple times a year, I think you're going to have a night like that. I think that was one of those nights. And it's kind of inexplicable. I don't think there's much you can attribute it to. It's just you take
happens.
shots and they don't make them. I think that's really what it comes down to in that 5-point loss, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big game as far as standings go because they were tied going into the game. Yeah. We'll touch on the standings a little bit later, but moving on to Saturday, the Jacks bounced back very nicely to beat the Southern Utah. They put up nearly 100, and you had 3 guys with 20. You had Dykstra, you had Sargent come back with a nice shooting performance. You had Walters come back, have his usual game.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on Jordan Dykstra here. He shot, he was 4 of 4 from 3.
Yeah.
20.6 rebounds. Really a matchup problem for any team he faces.
And I think you just hope that he keeps in the spot that he is, that he doesn't get moved into more of an inside threat role, because I don't think that's the best part of his game. I think the best part of his game is when he's in that role in the 4 spot with Fegan maybe having more of the inside with the 5. I think that's where Dykstra thrives. Absolutely he's a really, really good,
surprisingly for his size.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's something I think that they need to cater to in order to get the maximum out of him, because he's a great offensive player, and I think his rebounding numbers are only going to get better as well. He's dangerous, absolutely.
And Nagy has said his defense is getting a little bit better.
Yeah. And
he's coming off the bench these last few games. Tony Fegan started the first 3-4 minutes, then Dykstra comes out. How much do you think that's helped, having him come off the bench?
Well, I think Nagy alluded to the fact that it kind of calms him down a little bit for whatever reason. Starting out, I think he's a little too amped up. I don't know, maybe he has some anxiety where he comes off the bench, he's a little more relaxed. Lets him kind of, play loose if he comes off the bench. He still gets plenty of minutes, absolutely. But yeah, that's been working. I think Fegan's played well too, so I think that switch, I think, should probably continue. Not that Dykstra's getting demoted at all. It's just a little different role, and he's thrived with it so far.
And then the women, they bounced back nicely from that loss last Monday against Oakland in overtime, and they win 81-61 over Southern Utah. You had the regulars show up for once. You had Young and Rodert shoot very well, Young especially at 4 or 5 straight threes. And this was the type of game where they haven't shown all year long the way they shot the ball.
It's amazing what can happen when your best players play well. And they haven't gotten that consistently from Rodert, Young all year. But they did that particular night, and it definitely showed, absolutely. They need that. They need that every game. They really do. Maybe this is the beginnings of, breaking through a little bit here and maybe getting some wins, strung up together here. But I think the one other thing you could say is they're inconsistent.
They are.
They played well Saturday. Did not play well up until that point on the homestand. So it's going to take a few games of solid play before you can definitively say they're kind of turning a corner. They're getting a little more comfortable and stuff like that.
And what makes the team so dangerous is that they can put a game like this out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Where they can put a string of these together. And something that's hindered them all year is their turnovers.
Yeah.
They only had 11 in this game, and that's just going to be huge down the stretch if they can they don't have to shoot this well, but if they can just cut those turnovers so they don't have 20, 25 a game.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be a team that turns it over. That's just been kind of one attribute of them, even when they were really good 2 years ago, and even when they were a really good team last year. They'll turn the ball over, and it's great to limit them. It's great to limit those, absolutely. Was it a season low Saturday?
I think it was.
I think they had like 11 or 12 or something. So, it's just part of the inconsistency. The ball control is either there or it's completely by the wayside. See what happens tonight, UMKC tonight. So.
And then on Monday night, the Jacks, as you mentioned, played UMKC, and we have some post-game comments from head coach Aaron Johnston.